So back 2 years ago, we went over the best Pokemon for your Kanto team, but that just shows off the best and explains their best matchups. What if we flipped the script and got into more detail on how or why they are better, while keeping the integrity of the matchups intact? In other words, we're diving in deeper to find the advantages and disadvantages to each Pokemon used in each region for a specific type. We'll still be looking at important battles using the normal scale, but we'll also be looking at the Pokemon themselves, analyzing all the advantages and disadvantages. We'll truly find the best way to explain and come up with the best Pokemon for your teams. However, this is more of a loose top 5, where they aren't looking for fun, but you can use any of these Pokemon as long as they fit, and I promise they will do great on your team. Today, we'll be going back to our roots and return to Kanto. In the Fire Red games, though. Home to the many water-type Pokemon. And that is where the age-old question begins. Who is the best water type for your Kanto team? Our first water type comes at the hands, or should I say fists, of Poliwrath. Poliwrath is a great Pokemon for you to use, since it has a lot of things it can do. Hit on the physical side with fighting type attacks? Check. Hit on the special side with water type attacks? Check. Being caught later on so it dodges the battles against Lieutenant Surgeon Erica? Triple check. Though the fighting type does lend a hand in a pinch, it opens up new weaknesses. Sabrina now becomes a problem, you can have issues with Agatha, and every time you face Blue, you can't be leading off with Poliwrath because his lead flying type Pidgeot will have you wasting a turn every time just to switch out. But this isn't even counting the battles that the water type here have a field day in, being against Brock, Blaine, and Giovanni, of which Poliwrath gets to participate in the latter two. It's surprisingly bulky, and with a surprisingly deep move pool, you have a lot more options, even than I thought when typing this. Really? I say the best set you can run on Poliwrath in these games is Surf, Submission, Earthquake/Dig, and Blizzard. Why not Brick Break? Well, that's a universal move, meaning that a lot of Pokemon can use the TM, so it's best to use this coverage somewhere else on your team because at least you still have a move like Submission to fall back on. Our second option comes from an option of 3, and if you guessed Blastoise, then big shouts to you. Its usefulness doesn't come from it being a starter, but more so as it's the only water type with both defense stats in the triple digits. Using those defenses go great during the game. It being a water type, just like everyone else on this list, it will always struggle against the likes of Lieutenant Surge and Erica, and without a reliable ice type move by the time you reach Erica, it's best just to let Blastoise ride the bench in both matches. Though with access to such coverage moves such as Bite at level 19 and Brick Break from TM, it can make a great backup option against Sabrina, Lorelei, Agatha, and with later access to TM14 Blizzard, you'll lay waste to Lance's team. And all of that is wrapped up in a bow against Blue, where a moveset of Surf, Bite, Brick Break, and Blizzard alone can potentially win matchups against 4 out of 6 of his team. He can't really touch Gyarados, and it's a risky match versus his Venusaur, but it's still a solid moveset to include on your Blastoise if you use one. Due to the lack of a physical special split, if a Pokemon is dealt the wrong hand, it could be forever held back in the old games. That's a foreshadow for the honorable mentions, and a precursor to our third Pokemon on this list, Kabutops. It was actually a tough choice between the two fossil Pokemon, but Kabutops barely won out on two things. For one, Kabutops is faster and has a better stat spread versus Omastar's, which is all over the place. But two, because Kabutops is more physically based, it doesn't have to just rely on water/ice type moves to get anything done. You finally get to revive your fossil on Cinnabar Island just in time for the final two gyms, both of which it gets dunked on by either fossil, although keep in mind that you may be quaked back on if you don't get the knockout on Giovanni's team. Heading into the Elite Four, you probably want a set of Rock Slide, Surf, Slash, and another move of your choice. I'd say Swords Dance since you can effectively set up and start taking names, or Dig for coverage. Once you arrive, you can deal with Lorelei and Lance with Rock Slide, Bruno's 2 Onyxes with Surf, and you could effectively deal with Blue, as with that kind of coverage, you deal with at least half of his team, if not more depending on your starter chosen. If you're willing to wait that long to get a water type for your team, Kabutops is definitely the way to go, but be wary, it's a grind. Gyarados is the only Pokemon on this list that actually gets its main matchups changed due to its secondary typing. It's secondary typing that it can't take advantage of because it looks like it was tacked on at the last minute. Because of that, it's not as big of a liability against Erica anymore. It's actually more of a liability against Lieutenant Surge now. One zap, and it's down for the count. Damn, you electric gym leaders need to stop breaking my Gyarados' leg, please. Well, at least it has an even better matchup against Giovanni, as the ground-type moves miss entirely. But watch out for his Rhydon's Rock Blast. But really, Gyarados is best at using physical types to its advantage, while being pseudo-bulky due to its ability of Intimidate. And even though it has to rely on one water move, which is special in Fire Red and Leaf Green, you can just run coverage with the other 3 moves, the best being a combo of Surf, Bite, Earthquake, and Dragon Dance. Then again, Bite is special as well, but take your pick. With that moveset, you'll be able to tank hits from Lorelei, resist Bruno's fighting types, chomp on Agatha's ghost types, and depending on the starter you picked, pick apart over half of Blue's team. It's definitely a great Pokemon to pick if it slots in your team better than the next water type. Before we dive into the final water type, let's check out some honorable mentions. Golduck would be a great addition to this list, but without Psychic Stab, it kinda just becomes another water type with a single coverage move. Cloyster would have been on this list if its special attack wasn't so awful. 45 special attack, and both of its stab typings are specially based. Lapras can also be mentioned here, but you get it further into the game, and it's much slower than Cloyster. While you get access to moves such as Thunderbolt, it's just not as worth it, with the Ice type taking up a spot, while all other dual-type water types can still use Ice-type attacks while still getting the stab boost from another type. But that's about it. It's time for the best water type, and really, you shouldn't be surprised. If you watched the top 10 Pokemon for your Kanto team video back in the summer of 2018, you should already know who the best water type is. It was the #1 best Pokemon in Kanto, so by default, it's the best Pokemon on this list as well. The water type is already good in this game, but combining it with the psychic type just elevates it to broken levels. What the psychic type adds is an easier match against Koga and Bruno, while trading that out for a harder time against Agatha. It does open up a few more things as well. Agatha isn't as bad since all of her Pokemon are also poison types, but you need to be wary of certain fire types from Blaine and Blue as they carry dark coverage. But really, looking deeper into Starmie, there's just nothing bad about it. 115 base speed on top of 100 base special attack, sneaky bulk with 85 in both stats, and the birth of one of the best Bolt Beamers in the game. Really, your moveset only needs to be Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt, and you're set. Ice Beam deals with the likes of Lance, while Thunderbolt adds in more great matchups like Blue's Pidgeot lead or Lance's Gyarados. Really, I said it before in 2018, I'll say it again here. Starmie is the best water type for your Kanto team. But if it doesn't fit, don't worry about it. There are other great water types in this list you can use that I know will fit your team. Well, the water type is wet. But it's a really great type to use in Kanto, and I hope this has been a help as you try to build your teams. And I hope I can help in other ways. If you want me to cover another type from a region I have previously covered, let me know which type and region in the comments section below. I know I'd like to cover newer regions, but if I haven't yet, I can't do those since I don't have the region system set up yet. Apologies. And apologies again as this video is coming to an end. But that isn't the end of these analyses. To see more from this series or anything else, be sure to hit the subscribe button to join the squad today. With that though, I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you back at the top later on, because that is how we do live.